Alright guys, what's going on? Alright, I got the basket's pretty much dry. Or rack, whatever you want to call it. Let's do like an overview on this thing. I like it. It turned out really good. It's going to have the diamond plate in it. Of course, I'm cutting it from a toolbox. Hey, saving money. But I'm going to put the diamond plate on the inside so I have that dimensional look. So I put it on the outside. I like it like this. And what I did was, on the bottom right here is I added this piece of steel all the way across and drilled a hole. That way I can put it in the existing factory holes that they put in there. And over here, I haven't quite decided how I want to do this. I want to do it where you can't tell. It's the first mock-up I had. I don't think I'm going to go with it because therefore it'll have a bolt coming here, a bolt coming there, and a bracket. Which I might just... I didn't quite think this through. I might cut a square out right here. And I got these caps, wherever I did with them. There we go. Put these rubber caps right here, cover them holes up right there. I might do the same thing right here. Might just take my little cut off wheel and just cut a square. That way I can fit a bolt straight through here, which will be this one because it ain't quite long enough, and it'll just tuck away. And then I can put that cap on top of there and drill all the way straight through and drill a hole straight through the roll cage right here. That's what I thought about doing. I want to make it less obvious. That's why I'm not going with the first one because it's going to look a little tacky. I don't want to show bolts everywhere, so if I just did it that way, then I can put a cap on top of that to make it, I think that'll look good. Let me know what y'all think. I got several ideas. I want the best. So, but I feel like this one, like that looked pretty much like it come out of the factory like that. If I just do the same thing right here, just cut a little square out, got me in the same boat with that. I think that'll look good. Of course, I already got everything already marked out. This is gonna be the sides and over here, front and back, and everything's right on the money and measurement wise. I made sure of that. Yeah, we got some crazy chickens. Yeah, and I plan on adding actually another basket. I did this on purpose so it'll be perfectly even. And I plan on going like a step down. This is 5 inches right here, that basket. I'm gonna come down the bottom of here and come down with another one. Probably. I haven't decided yet. It's in the works. But from what it was and what it is now, hey, I think it's 100% better. But yeah, please comment below, subscribe. Help me out here, guys. Throw out some ideas. What can I do about bolting it down to make it look like there's no bolts involved? You think I should go cutting out the square and putting these caps on? Or should I go... See, it's only hard to drill unless I drill from the bottom, but if I want to get a socket in here, I got 14 millimeter hex bolts that are going in. That means I'll have to drill out a good portion of it, which I don't want to do all that. It'd be a lot easier if I can stick my little angle grinder, cut a little bitty cut off wheel, and just cut it because it'll fit perfect in here. And then I can put these caps on top. But I think that would be the best solution, because I should have drilled it before I welded this in. Now I have to go to an angle, which I really don't even want to do all that. But yeah, I made a couple mistakes. Minor mistakes, nothing big, but I can figure it out and resolve it. But like I said, if I got any ideas, throw them out there. I'm open to anything you got. So far this has been a one-man project. I've been on this. I got this go-kart 4 years ago, and I'm just now doing something with it. Of course, we've been driving it, having fun with it. Kids love it. We haven't. That's why I haven't really done anything with it. Then things happen. Got tired of it. Quit driving it. It was parked for a very long time. Floor pan was completely rusted through. It had zip ties holding the floor pan in. I mean, that's how bad it was. The center support, which, by the way, see how the outside of the brake has round tubular? Well, the center support also had round tubular. I cut it out and put square in, and that did away with all that slop in the gas pedal back and forth. See all that movement? See, very little movement. So much better. So if y'all ever doing this floor pan replacement or restoration, and I gotta cut out that centerpiece, I'd 100% advise you to put square tubing, because trust me, it'll all work out in the end. It's a better fit, so please do. And as far as hardware and bolts and stuff, either go to Barnes Feed Store and Hardware or Tractor Supply. They got like all kinds of stuff. Because a few years back when I had these lower control arms, they've been worked multiple times. I had to take them to a shop and had the original bolts. Long story short, I had to cut the original ones off close enough so I can remove the control arms. They were so rusted and seized in there, and I heated them. I couldn't get them out, so I took them to a shop. Guy charged me $30. He had to press them out, bent the control arm where the bolt goes through, just a hair, but not enough to affect it. And I looked all over town trying to find these bolts, and I went off somewhere. I don't remember what place it was, but they charged me like $25-$30 just for these two bolts. And little I don't know if Tractor Supply was open at the time. But I went to Tractor Supply, they had these bolts for like $4 or $5. And I was like, how irritating that is. All this time, I could have went there and bought the bolts. Same with the back. I don't know if you can see them or not, but yeah, I got brand new ones. Got oversized washers. And there's my lovely battery box that I just whiffed up in like 10 minutes. Using some old scrap metal ahead. I cut like a cross or like a T, not a T, like a plus sign. I cut all around it and just kind of folded everything and just molded it. It's waterproof, it holds water, liquid, so if it does leak acid, it won't leak everywhere. But surely it will leak. It will eat through that metal, but that's a future issue. Ain't worried about it right now. Got a brand new chain. Luckily I have a chain breaker, so I ordered 5 feet of chain. Looks like I gotta tighten that back up. That kind of came out loose a little bit. Oh no, I lost my set screw is gone. Huh, go figure. Yeah, these bearings were a pain to get off, by the way. If you're ever doing these, a lot of people won't mess with them, but spray some like liquid wrench or something on it. If you have an air hammer, that would be great. Just give it a little heat. Don't worry about the little seal that's in the bearing and the race. Just heat up around it. It didn't melt on me, so it should be fine for you if you try this. Go back and forth when you're air hammering it, because if you try to go full force one way, you're going to do more damage than good. So kind of work it back and forth, back and forth. And another tip is sand all this down to bare. Like if you want to have one on floppy disk, just take it and just go all around it. Hand sanding ain't gonna do it. You're gonna have to have a grinder or a flap disc or something that's gonna cut all that out of there. But after you do all that, then I'll work that bearing back and forth, because they're a pain. These are original bearings on this go-kart, believe it or not. Original, and I actually replaced these carriage bolts. Actually cut them to size. I actually had longer ones. I didn't go buy any hardware for this thing. I had everything in my shop laying around. There's the shocks. Those are actually original, believe it or not. I actually sandblasted them, and I taped all this off and kept it original silver, which it was kind of chrome. It peeled off, but same with the shocks. And then it's been one project. I did replace the brake band like 3 years back, so I didn't got many miles on it. Previously, I had all this welded because everything was so jacked up from the last owner that had it, but I ended up grinding it all down and properly fixing it. The only thing I did not fix was, I don't know if you can see, back here there's supposed to be some snap rings that go in a groove that's notched out in the shaft, but I guess over time it just wore out. Every time you torque the nut down, it breaks it away, so that therefore the wheel just kind of slides back and forth. So I actually drilled a hole straight through the shaft and put these pins all the way through it, so I can get as much torque I want on these bad boys, and they ain't going nowhere. I ain't never had since I did that. And anybody has that issue, drill a hole where the center of that snap ring went. Drill a hole right in the center of that straight through, and you won't have a problem with it. You can take a piece of peg or a piece of small metal, anything, a bolt, anything that will go through it that's flat with no bolt head on it, then it'll work out perfect. You'll never have it. You can tighten this as tight as you want it. It don't matter. And well, what else is good? I recommend putting the oversized washers on it just for protection, whatever. I like putting bigger washers on stuff. And yeah, there's my new floor pan. It wasn't a new piece of metal I bought. It was actually from a deep freezer, I believe, a deep freezer tray with the deep freezer set inside, I guess, for like if it leaks any water or anything. Well, that's what that came out of. I cut it to size, and I just welded it up in there. I think it's been a good project. It's been motivating. I keep wanting to add stuff to it, but I'll tell you one thing. I think I'm going to go with a bigger engine, because I can't call it motor, because the motor's electric. The engine's gas, so a lot of people call it motor. No, they know motor about this. This is an engine. So yeah, I think about upgrading to a little bit bigger engine, because that's a pretty good, decent sized go-kart to pull with that little bitty 212cc 7 horsepower engine. It's just not gonna go. Or I could get I guess I could, I don't know, do some tuning to the engine or whatever, put some bigger jets in the car, get a little bit more power, put a header exhaust on there. Put a cold air intake system on there, might boost the horsepower up just maybe about a horsepower, 1 or 2, but to be honest with me, this Leaf On engine I bought, it's not good as the Predators or the Honda clones, what you want to call it. This is pretty much what this is. And like I said before, like with the governor bypass, I wasn't thorough about it. But, people talked about it. And people had comments about it, You, in theory, yes, you can bypass the governor. But what that would entail is you have to take the crankcase cover off. And you have to remove the plastic gear that runs inside of it on the crankshaft, I believe. Maybe. I can't remember. I haven't been on one of these in a while. Or it could run off the camshaft. I can't remember. But anyways, correct me if I'm wrong. It's late. It's early. Whatever. But when I did the clothes hanger, I actually ended up putting everything back like it was. I actually ordered a new linkages and stuff and put it just back it was, because with the big tires on there, bypass the governor won't make a difference, because you get such a lot of torque. This engine has to pull to roll this go-kart down the road. The governor's not gonna make a difference. Now, if the go-kart was on a jack stand and you full throttle it, yeah, that would make a difference. There's no extra weight it has to push or pull to make this thing go. So, bypass the governor on these 7 horsepower engines ain't gonna do you no good, because you ain't gonna get that momentum long enough to make that governor hit top speed with the big tires. These ain't factory tires. These are aftermarket bigger tires for the back I got on there, so it takes a lot to pull them, and they're mud boggers. So yeah, they're big mud boggers. And I'm thinking about doing a valve adjustment on it, because it is running a little sluggish. I noticed. I think the valves, you're supposed to adjust the valves on them every so often. I'm going to check the clearance on there and make sure they're all where they're supposed to be at. And it's got a brand new OEM carburetor from the factory for this engine, so I know it ain't a carb issue. It's got a new coil, new spark plug, so if anyone wants to say it needs a carb adjustment, these carbs, you can't adjust them. They come preset from the factory. So I am running a little sluggish, so I'm going to check the valves on it, the valve lash, make sure it's where it's supposed to be at, because everything else has been good on it. And, of course, people always got something to say about, oh, you don't know what you're doing. I know exactly what I'm doing. I built these before. I know in and out on these engines. There are a lot about them. I actually rebuild generators. I do all kinds of stuff. So I don't care what y'all say. I'm just me. I just do me. I don't care. I have fun. I learn something new every day, especially these newer engines. It's been a journey, but I appreciate y'all's feedback and y'all's help. Any pointers, I'll be gladly to take any input y'all have. Because information goes a long ways. Hey, I got this generator that I fixed right here. Old generator, probably like 80s, maybe. Not sure. Bought this one, fixed it. Man, it's been crazy. I actually had a customer of mine had a generator that he wanted to fix. He said he dropped it off, or He had a brand new carburetor for it, but everything was in pieces. So I went to go turn it over, took the spark plug out, water and rust just dumps out of this spark plug hole. I was like, okay, that ain't good. So I took my automotive inspection camera and I stuck it down in the spark plug hole to inspect the cylinder. Rust. I mean, rust to galore. I mean, it was so caped up, it wasn't even funny. And so what I did next, I just, okay. A lot of people won't do this, but I went and indeed I tried to proceed on getting it running. It wouldn't run, which I knew that, of course, but who knows? Anything could happen. Well, what I ended up having to do was I got the customers okay. I told them he said keep it cheap as possible, so that's what I do. I try to help people out, try to save them money. That's part of my business, I try to help people out, but I make money. But back to our story is I pulled the head, took everything apart from the engine, I honed the cylinder wall, and I had to lap the valves, had to grind them and all that, reseat them and everything because there was so much rust, pitting and all that. Especially the cylinder wall was pretty rough. I ended up getting that really smooth and clean. Had to hone it several times to get it where it was supposed to be at. And after I did all that stuff and I got the head back on, torqued down the spec, finished that, put all new components on it, carburetor, spark plug, and choked her, pulled it about 3-4 times, fired out up, her like a little kitten. Man, it didn't run, it couldn't run any better. And it was like awesome stuff. But if you take the time, anything can be fixed, no matter how much rust is involved. But yeah. Alright guys, I'm gonna cut this out. I'll get with y'all later with the progress with the foiler and the rack on the go-kart and all that stuff. Subscribe, comment, any suggestions, feel free. Keep the negativity out. I'm not with it. I understand people got something to say, but I'm just living, enjoying life as it goes. Alright. Y'all have a good night. Peace out.